Welcome to Dog School, Week 3. We're going to cover Snuffle. And I am behind the sign, so come on in. I'm just telling our viewers that they have made it to the right place. Oop. Welcome. Hey, Basil. Hey, Smiling Doodle. Hey, everyone. If you're looking for that dog school, you've come to the right place. We are now entering our week 3 of our free dog school, and today we're going to be touching on Snuffle Bags. Hi everyone, I'm going to wave to you guys. Thank you guys for coming in. And if at any time, oh here's my girl. If at any time you guys want to invite some friends into here and you think they'd really like this information, you go down to this little airplane guy and you can invite him via DM. And I'm wearing a mic today because I'm out in the warehouse and I want you guys to hear me well. So I hope you can hear me well. It's our fear-free trainer with pack animals. Let's see if I can get her up here. Okay, hey. Hi.
Hi.
Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Hang on one sec.
Okay.
I think I got my volume squished. Are you there?
I am, yes.
Okay, I gotta take my mic. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Great.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming through fine, and yeah, the background is fine. I heard you say that you're in the warehouse.
Yeah.
I am right here with Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
We're getting her Snuffle Bag ready to start off today's class with.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I didn't get too much into anything yet. We just kind of got settled in. So first of all, I'm going to do a little plug here. I'm using Bears Bites treats. We do sell these on our website, and these are one ingredient treats made right near us in the Midwest in Peoria, Illinois. Sam is a wonderful soul, and she does all of this stuff for her dog Bear. So we carry these right on our site. And these are actually, I'll just jump right into that nose work that I did with Ari. I quickly posted something on our feeds about it, but I did the nose work with the 2 hands to pick which one and put a paw on it. Mm-hmm. She picked it up so fast. I didn't think she'd pick it up so fast. And so throughout the entire game, the first one I had 2, mm-hmm. and then the rest of them I just had 1, and she missed 1 out of 4, I think.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I liked doing stuff like that with her.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
Yeah. So what I'm going to just tell you guys is a little bit about our Snuffle Bags, kind of their intended use and how I designed them. And then we're going to ask Andrea a few questions that has come up with a lot of our customers on different ways they can handle some problems that may arise with the Snuffle Bag itself. So when we first developed, and this was about 4 years ago now, I kind of went back, excuse me one second. I kind of went back in my notes, and I developed the Snuffle Bag as an upgrade to the DIY that was developed during COVID. So that was a solid 4 years ago, and I'm excited that snuffling is now really part of our enrichment environment, and it's becoming more popular. But the DIY that they made, it was too heavy to ship. There was some issues with it, with timing. The labor on it was like 2 hours, so I had to come up with something that was more, sustainable for our business. Mm-hmm. So after we make our Tug Toys, we're left with all remaining materials here. And I was kind of playing with those and cutting them into different sizes. And I decided to kind of assemble them to wear their flaps. And that's how our Snuffle Bags are designed. So there you go. These pieces are folded in half, and they're all attached to a bottom, which is, you can kind of see the circle here. Mm-hmm. It's a burlap bottom, so it's all natural. and it gives it a surface to kind of sit with. And then you sprinkle your treats in here within the pieces, and your dog ideally will sniff through and find its pieces over time. And nose work is becoming more popular, and they were saying about 15 to 20 minutes of nose work is equivalent to almost an hour walk, just because of all the activities that they are doing. So this is my small Snuffle Bag, and it's about 6 inches closed, 11 inches open. And this is the large one. This guy is about 11 inches closed and 22 inches open. So this is ideal for larger dogs, for entire meals. We have a lot of cats that love this size because they get their catnip, and then they can double it as a bed. They do love that size as well.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of fun customers who love these and use these, and we've come up with some common questions for you. And one of the first ones, obviously, is what I would like to ask you first is what is a good way to introduce this to your dog when you first get it out of the package, and kind of, portraying them and teaching them how to use it. And how to introduce it, should I say.
Yeah. So if you already start with different games with your dog where they learn how to use their nose, how to sniff out for treats, and then that when they use their nose to sniff it out, that they get the treat, and that's a really solid foundation. And then you layer in teaching them how to use their nose to sniff in between the holes rather than, or like little flaps rather than, pulling at them. And so there are a couple of ways to go about it. The first one is when you get it out of the bag, you open it up entirely, and you can play the go find it game with your dog, or the go get it. And so that is basically a game that benefits even a lot of other things, like it can help you with loose leash walking, it can help you with recall, because you're sending the dog away from you, and then you bring them back to you. So it's like a go find it. You toss a treat out, they go get it, and then you call them back to you or you use a recall word, or like for us, we do like a thigh slap. That way it's the same for both my husband and I. It's not a voice or intonation difference. And so you can do that with a snuffle mat, where you're saying, go find it onto the ground, the dog gets it, they come back to you. Then you can toss onto the snuffle bag. So like go find it and toss it onto here. And then, it would toss on top, and then the dog would get it from on top and then come back to you. So they're used to needing to get it, and that they know that they're going after the treat. They're not specifically going after anything within the snuffle bag itself. And so that is the first way of developing engagement with your dog, using a skill that you're already building up in a different way, and then just making it a little bit harder for them, because they are needing to pick up the treat, not just on the ground, but from the snuffle bag itself. And then you can end up hiding other treats within it. So let's say you say, go find it, and there are already some treats inside the bag. You can have your dog go find that one, but then they'll be like, oh, wow, there's actually more here. And then they start to sniff, but you still have it kind of on top, not necessarily put in too far. I mean, you can see here, I'll give you an example of what my bag looks like right now, preparing for Maggie. So there's one on the top there, and then there's some that I hid under the flaps, but it's not like it's everywhere. It's just in every, I pull it out, and so I put it in here, and she'll always just kind of get it. And then it's funny to hear her breathing out when she's like at the last little bit. And so there's some that are a little harder, tucked in like this. Yeah. And so she is right here, waiting patiently for it. Ready? Wait. Okay, go find it. Okay, go. And then she'll just start sniffing it out, and she'll take the easiest ones on top first. And then she'll just kind of work her way through. And because there is that element of, okay, I'm teaching my dog to go for the treat because we're playing a game together, and I'm calling them back to me and not letting them just pull at it because it's another old toy, they know that there's an engagement game that they're doing, and they know to be using their brains and to be kind of sniffing out, using their tongue, using their nose to try to go through. And so sure, there are times like right now, see, she's trying to get in between, but
Yeah.
she's actually using her paw, which is hard to get because her head is so floofy. You see how her paw is down? So
Yeah.
she's using her paw to keep it down, while she's sniffing through, and that way it's not necessarily coming up. It is, she's able to just go and sniff in between those flaps, and she just got the treat that was in that flap there. So I hope that helps answer your question. And
Yeah. So it's kind of like building blocks at the beginning. So you put a little bit more, then the dog would automatically come back to you when he's done, right? And that's kind of a clue to perhaps pick up the bag. Then we're done with the bag, and we don't want to leave it on the floor as a unsupervised toy.
that's true. Yeah. In the whole game, I mean, right now I'm going to watch her, but we've actually, before we started this, she was getting really antsy. And so I just put down the mat for her and I put some of the treats in there, and she started going after it. And then she started like breathing out more. And when she starts breathing out more, I'm like, that's to me a sign that she's just about done. But I watch her and then I'll pick it up and then I'll actually put more into it. So it teaches her that, when she's done, that doesn't mean that there isn't any more fun. It's like she can continue to have more that gets added in. But it's what's really important with a snuffle mat is that it is beneficial for a dog to do on their own. You can put all of their treats and their food in there, or you can put some of it and then give them more later after they're done and kind of layer it out. She's got one left in there. I can see her. She's sniffing in. But you don't want to leave your dog unsupervised, because no matter what, like there's still going to be little crumbs in there. There's going to be the scent, and they might want to go for it. But when it comes to getting them comfortable and used to it, I mean, this is just really cute right now. Look at her. She's like, I'm going to lay down.
2 paws down. I need to get.
So here, right, this is a good example. So she twisted it over, and I'm just going to help her redirect. And what I want her to do is just sniff at it. And so there's like some little bits of crumbs in there. And so I'm letting her go ahead and use her nose. But if she starts to try to pull at it, which there was a treat there that she just got, but if she does twist it over, I'm just going to bring it back and help her understand what good behavior looks like. And all I had to do was twist it over once, and she's just continuing to use her nose. But yeah, engagement. Oh, yep, she got the hidden one right there. Engagement with your dog is really important, of just understanding where they are and helping them maintain the good behavior with it so that they're just using their nose.
So how many times do you think you would actively have to kind of work with your dog? How many like sessions, if you would, before you would feel comfortable, or what are some of the signs before you feel comfortable just kind of feeling it, letting them kind of do their thing, come back in 20 minutes and pick it up?
Yeah, so you can feel comfortable doing that with your dog when at the end of play, you've taught them that, okay, that it goes away. Sorry, let's twist it back to me. When you've taught them at the end of them using their nose, and now this whole thing is empty, that it goes away and that they don't have to do anything further with it. In an ideal world, I would have kept some more treats and then tossed her a treat and said, okay, break. But I will just give her a pat on her head. Okay, break. So you can feel comfortable with it after you've had enough sessions where you can let this stay with your dog for just a little bit longer. So like she finished with the mat, and there was a little bit where she was just continuing to sniff at it, and then let's say she puts her head down, I give her a reward when she puts her head down, and then I can take it away from her. And then I wait next time a little bit longer to see how long she keeps her head down, or does she stand up and walk away. So the goal is to teach your dog that when they're done with the snuffle mat, they do something else other than continuing to try to go for it when it's empty.
Okay. Right. And that can, something else can also be like part of that routine,
Yeah.
right? Like tug toy play.
Yeah, there could be tug toy play. The thing then is like whatever they do next is what they learn. So the only thing I would not actually I would not say tug toy play because a snuffle mat, as you said, is very mentally stimulating for a dog, and so it helps them use their brains. It helps them relieve energy, but a tug toy increases that energy again. And so you want to scale it down rather than scale it back up. So at the end of the snuffle mat, you want to help them scale it down and go into more of a calm, relaxed state. Like right now, she just laid down over there. And so for her, it's I'm done with the snuffle mat. I'm going to go and just sit in my bed and chill a bit longer. And so their state of calm maintains and continues after the snuffle mat.
Yeah.
And that is when I would be comfortable with leaving it with them longer.
Yeah. So going back to when Maggie kind of flipped it over, we do have some dogs that have already learned just to kind of take it and shake it and flip it over. And then they go on the floor and kind of, forage and get it that way. So what would you suggest to those fur parents who already kind of have a mat and that this is what the dog's already kind of learned, self-taught, if you would?
I'm assuming that having the dogs shake it is not a desirable behavior.
No.
Yeah. So it just means helping your dog get more used to using their nose. So with positive reinforcement, you always want to think about how can you increase their behaviors. And so the idea is how can you increase their behavior of being comfortable using their nose, staying calm and interested in using their nose to extract the treats that are hidden within these flaps rather than like, oh, just give it all to me right now. And so that means starting slower. So don't stick the treats in here way too hard. Don't expect them to be doing college level algebra when they're learning their multiplication tables. So
Kind of start over, if you would,
yes.
it would just be introduced like we just talked about.
Yeah, reintroduce it, pretend that you just got the mat. Go find it games where you're tossing treats onto the mat, and then do go find it games tossing treats onto the mat when there's already a treat on there, not necessarily hidden, but kind of on the top. And then have there be treats that, go a little bit farther into the flaps. And so go find it, come back to me, go find it, come back to me using the snuffle mat will get your dog used to knowing that they're picking stuff up from the snuffle mat. It's not that the snuffle mat is keeping them from the treats that they want.
Yeah. Yeah, that totally makes sense. That right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that mindset shift, right? Like for us, it's like, oh, there's so many treats in here. They're really great for you. But to them, it's like if they have to work too hard and they haven't built up the persistence, right? We are expecting them to be really persistent. They are needing to like really figure out how to get through to it. It's like those puzzle games, those ones that you find in some of the novelty stores where it's like an impossible puzzle where you have to take it apart.
Mm-hmm.
and and like there's a really special
Yeah.
way, like for humans, some people love that and some people absolutely hate it, like a Rubik's cube. No thank you, give me a Rubik's cube, I give it back to you. I am not persistent enough for a Rubik's cube. And for some dogs this is the Rubik's cube, but if you teach them how to do it, like if someone taught me how to solve a Rubik's cube, I bet you I would love it because it would be like really fun and lots of additional ways to add challenge to that.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, this kind of goes right into the last question from the viewers is what if they just walk away, right? If you put the treats in there and they decide that it's a little bit too difficult and they're just going to walk away from those treats. And obviously, I believe this would be a situation where the dog isn't true food motivated, and so I could just picture a customer just purchasing this beautiful bag and their dog's going to use it. So how would you suggest to kind of get the dog more interested?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny because I've made the comment about Maggie not being food motivated. Um, she's treat motivated, but I've made the comment as well of her not being food motivated, because she's just really picky with her kibble. And I have clients as well who say, oh, my dog is not food motivated when we're training outside the house. But see, the thing is, and I saw this on another Instagram account, I don't remember which one, unfortunately, at this point, but they were talking about how it's not that a dog is not food motivated. Eating is necessary for survival. And so it just depends on what food and what else is going on around them that influences their ability to participate in the activity. So if someone is giving me like a steak dinner at the time of an apocalypse, I'm going to be like, no, thank you, I'm running.
Yeah.
And so if your dog is not engaging with the snuffle mat in the house, then I would say understand what's happening before that. Did your dog eat before? And if they did eat before, well, that's the point that you're making. We're like, this can actually be a really good tool for teaching your dog, once they learn how to use it, to have their entire meal out of this, because then they can forage at the same time that they are enjoying their meal. The second thing, if let's say you don't want to use this for feeding them their meals, you want to use it more for mental enrichment, which, by the way, to show you what mental enrichment does, she's just chilling right there. Her head was down until I put the camera on her.
She's waiting.
The second thing is if you don't want to give your dog the food, and let's say it's not that they got the food right before, it's, are they thirsty? Do you need to give them water? Do you need to make it more interesting for them? Are you making it too hard first and they're not willing to be persistent, right? Like, again, if someone hands me a Rubik's Cube and I'm like all good to go, but I just like don't really know how to use this thing, I might try it a little, but after too many times of being given it without being shown how to use it, I'm going to put it right down. So again, bring it back to the basics of, have I taught my dog what it means to use their nose to use this? And then the other thing is, what am I putting into it? So we recently switched Maggie to a different kind of food. And now she loves mealtime. And like, I see her nose going up and sniffing for it. So I am going to use this. And actually what I put in here was her new food. It's Unkibble from Spot and Tango that we started using. And she loves the beef, does not like the cod and salmon, but she loves the beef one. And that is what she just ate out of this. And so thinking about what are you providing your dog? Is the treat, is it just kibble that you're putting into it, or are you putting something that they really value and enjoy foraging for? Because you are making them work, right? This is not simple necessarily, and that the point of using this is because it isn't simple. It's gonna use their brains. It's gonna be mental enrichment and exercise, and you need to make sure you're paying them appropriately for it. So those, right, like we can recap. One, what was happening before you gave your dog the mat? Two, did you teach your dog how to use the mat before you gave it to them? And is the level of difficulty you're expecting of them aligned with where they are in their understanding? And three, what are you using in the mat itself? Are you using something that they are willing to work for? And so when you take those three into account, I am confident that you will end up seeing improvement in your dog's ability to engage with this. And they're also excitement for it. Like when they pick this up, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to get some fun time now.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what we want, right? We want them to see this and fall in love.
Yeah.
I got my squirming around here. So I wanted also to, I don't think we actually talked about this, Andrea, but I was working with some groomers and who are really about enrichment during grooming because it changes their entire experience. Mm-hmm. And so if you as a dog owner have a dog that gets anxious with grooming, you can bring your snuffle mat and whatever treat that you want to feed your dog to the groomer and ask her to use this during high anxiety times. Like when I know some dogs are sensitive around their nails or their ears when they're kind of buzzing around, or tails. And I'm not a groomer, but This can also kind of help during those types of high anxiety situations.
Yeah. When you build up a behavior, it can be applied across a variety of different experiences. So if you build up the behavior at home of having your dog know how to use the snuffle mat, if you make it fun for them, right? Like another thing to the point of if your dog is just walking away, maybe you need to engage with them more when you give them the mat and do a go find it game where you're tossing treats and you're including play back to our very first session of the important our first class together, where we talked about the importance of play.
Yeah.
If your dog is walking away, then that means they, are not necessarily knowing how to engage with it, and they are not viewing it as a play activity. Um, but if you do that at home, and if you teach the dog that there's something really positive associated with this, you're helping them develop that skill and association with it that you can take into a variety of other places. The usage of it in situations that could be anxiety inducing, for that, I would say timing is really critical because you would want to give it to the dog before they get anxious. Otherwise, you're going to see them walk away, right? So again, if you give me a steak dinner at the time of an apocalypse, or I perceive an apocalypse, I'll
Yeah.
be running, or I'll be exhibiting stress signals and going to want something else. But if if I'm like used to being in a really safe bubble, and I know that like I can press something on my watch and I'm in a bubble and I'm safe, I'll be like, yeah, give me the steak, I'm fine, right? Because I've built an association and I know that I have safety. And so the more we can think like our dogs, like what have I been taught? How have I been? How have we been teaching our dogs to build up the behaviors we want, and how well are we able to understand the external stimuli that might impact their motivation to do what we want versus not do what we want, and when they're not doing what we want, why is that? So if a dog goes to the groomer and has the snuffle mat and they're not engaging with it, my question or my comment wouldn't be, oh, my dog doesn't like the snuffle mat at the groomer. My question would be, was it introduced too late? Was my dog already heightened at that point? Is my dog worried about other dogs coming to get it from them, right? Because the other thing you want to consider is how will other dogs respond? And in the presence of there being some really good treats in here, and if other dogs start barking at mine, then, like there are just a variety of these different considerations that you want to take into account. But it rarely is the dog, it rarely is the tool. It is much more often our timing and the context and learning we have established beforehand.
In the environment.
Yeah.
Well, that makes complete sense. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I really want to thank you again for bringing all of your knowledge to us. And I think this has been a wonderful, wonderful week because um, what we want to eventually do is share some of these initial techniques into some of our tags. And so when people get these mats or these bags, they're able to do that right away.
Mm-hmm.
And not have to go seeking on our website or anywhere else and just have it right there with them.
Yeah.
So thank you again. Thank you again. And next week we are going to do a little bit of training with the Tug Toys. And so we're going to kind of show you some great ways to use them and some ways that maybe you didn't even think of, and share those with you. So I hope you guys, all of our fans, and Andrea, I hope you had a great week. And we'll see you again. Do you want to do this again next Wednesday night? Same time? It seems to be a good time.
Yeah, next Wednesday works. And I do want to share the context to let people know for next week that Maggie was not a tugger. And so when it comes to, the different innovative ways that you could use a tug toy, there are many benefits that we get from it and things that we are using a tug toy to teach her to do, that go beyond just simply tug.
Yeah.
And So there are a lot of really cool skills you can teach your dogs, ways that your dog can work for you and do things like, you know, a tug toy is an on-ramp to teaching your dog how to open the fridge and get something for you from the fridge. So I will put that little teaser in there
Yeah.
because that is a fun one. And just there's so many ways you strengthen your bond with your dog through play, through understanding how to meet their mental enrichment needs, through knowing how to play with them, and then just have even like fun little party tricks that you can use to make you a very proud parent of your dog too.
Well, maybe we'll have to add a little week on the end and do some party trick training. That's like a little fun little celebration for the end of school.
Yeah, yeah, right. That would be a fun graduation task. Yep.
Little ceremony graduation.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining us. We're going to end our live now, and we will also post this on both of our feeds. So you can watch this all again and bring in your friends and show everybody how awesome all of Andrea's great information is.
Yeah. Well, thank you for making all of these really great you know, toys, and you're definitely a master toy maker, and fascinating to hear how many years you've been going at it, and also the evolution of you know, your products that you shared at the beginning.
Thank you. And we may have something coming out this fall. So we're working on a few new things. So we'll have a few teasers coming out maybe at the end of school.
All right, that's a fun teaser.
Yeah. All right, Andrea, have a good night. And good night, everyone.
Good night.